Ladies and gentlemen, there's something in your life right now that's working for you or working against you, and you may not even notice it. It's not dramatic, it's not loud, it doesn't come with applause or spotlights. It's your habits, the small things you do when no one is watching, the choices you repeat without thinking, the routines you follow every single day. These are the quiet architects of your destiny. And today, I want to show you the secret power behind your daily habits, and how the smallest decisions can shape the biggest chapters of your life. Small habits are the quiet engines that move your life forward, step by steady step. They rarely make noise, they don't shine with the excitement of grand goals or bold declarations, but they work every single day, shaping your direction, strengthening your character, and building a foundation that lasts longer than any burst of motivation ever could. When you look at someone who has achieved something great, it's easy to think it was one big moment that changed everything. But in truth, those moments were built on years of small, intentional actions repeated when no one was clapping and no one was watching. Think about how a river cuts through rock. It doesn't do it with strength. It does it with consistency. A drop of water on its own seems meaningless, but thousands of drops over time form a path. Your life is no different. Every small habit either pushes you toward the life you want or pulls you farther from it. The power is in the accumulation. You might overlook the choice to wake up 10 minutes earlier, to write a paragraph a day, to put aside a little money, to take a short walk, or to speak one positive sentence to yourself. But each act is a seed. Over time, those seeds grow roots, then branches, then fruits. What's important is that small habits are sustainable. They don't require superhuman strength or endless motivation. They don't demand a perfect day or perfect conditions. They simply require you to show up. 5 minutes of reading each day is not about the 5 minutes. It is about the identity you're building. Little by little, you become someone who learns. 5 minutes of breathing in the morning is not about the breath. It's about becoming someone who protects their peace. 10 push-ups each night is not about the 10 push-ups. It's about becoming someone who respects their body. Real change comes not from the size of the action, but from the consistency of the commitment. Life often tests you with the big storms, but it builds you with the small choices. A person who works hard only when the challenge is dramatic is not dependable, but a person who builds small habits is someone who becomes strong from the inside out. Think about the person who decides to start journaling one line each night. Not a page, not a story, just a line. Over the years, that simple act clarifies their thoughts, heals old wounds, and brings perspective to their life. Or consider the person who chooses to place a glass of water next to their bed every evening. It seems insignificant, but that tiny routine shifts their health, boosts their energy, and teaches them to value preparation. These small habits add up until one day you realize you've transformed without even noticing the exact moment it happened. There is also a deeper truth. Small habits build trust within yourself. Every time you follow through, you send a message to your mind that you can rely on your own word. That kind of inner trust is priceless. It strengthens your confidence, sharpens your focus, and gives you the courage to take on bigger challenges. When you break your habits, even small ones, you feel scattered. But when you keep them, you feel grounded, and from that grounded place you can grow. Success does not come to those who wait for the perfect opportunity. It comes to those who build tiny routines that prepare them for opportunities long before they appear. If you want discipline, practice a small disciplined act each morning. If you want growth, repeat a small action that stretches you each day. If you want greatness, start with the smallest task and do it well. Over time, these small habits create results so powerful that people will think it happened suddenly, but you will know the truth. The truth is that greatness is built quietly, patiently, and consistently in the small moments of everyday life. Your habits speak long before you ever open your mouth. They whisper the truth about who you are, what you value, and what you believe you deserve. You can tell the world you want success, growth, or discipline, but your habits are the real testimony. They reveal the story you are writing with your actions, not your intentions. And the powerful thing is that you don't need to announce your identity. You build it brick by brick, choice by choice, habit by habit, until it becomes impossible to hide who you truly are. When you look at someone who shows up early, who stays late, who follows through when the excitement fades, you don't have to ask what kind of person they are. Their habits speak for them. When you see someone who reads daily, who listens and learns, who treats people with kindness, you understand their character without a single word. The truth is simple. Your habits are a mirror, reflecting the person you are becoming. And every day, you decide whether that reflection inspires you or disappoints you. There's a deep connection between what you repeatedly do and who you grow into. If you run every morning, it isn't just exercise. It's discipline. If you keep your space clean, it's not just organization. It's clarity. If you take time each day to pray, reflect, or meditate, it's not just a routine. It's alignment. These habits carve out your identity like a sculptor chipping away at stone. Slowly, over time, a shape emerges, a form appears, and one day you look in the mirror and realize you have become someone stronger, someone wiser, someone more intentional. Most people misunderstand identity. They think it's something you find, something you stumble into. But identity is something you build. You construct it with repetition. If you start writing every day, even a few lines, you don't become a writer because someone published your work. You become a writer because you write. If you practice kindness daily, you don't become compassionate because someone compliments you. You become compassionate because kindness is wired into your habits. Your identity is not determined by what you dream of doing, but by what you consistently do. There's a powerful example in the athlete who trains before sunrise. People praise the medals, the trophies, the victories. But the athlete's true identity is formed in the lonely hours when no one is watching. The habit of showing up becomes the identity of someone who refuses to give up, or the student who studies every night, even when they don't feel like it. That student doesn't just build knowledge, they build resilience. Their habits shape the identity of someone who finishes what they start. The same goes for the person who practices gratitude each day. Over time, they don't just become thankful. They become grounded, appreciative, and hopeful. Your habits can also reveal the places you need to grow. If your routines are messy, your days might feel chaotic. If you avoid taking action, hesitation might be part of your identity. If you constantly procrastinate, a lack of faith in yourself may be hiding underneath. But the beauty is that you can rewrite your identity at any moment by changing your habits. Start small, start quiet, start consistently. With every new habit, you reshape the story you are living. You don't need anyone's permission to reinvent yourself. You don't need a perfect moment, a new year, or a grand announcement. You just need one small habit carried out with intention. One tiny shift repeated long enough to become the new standard of who you are. Over time, your habits will reveal a version of you that is stronger, wiser, more determined, and more aligned with the life you want. Your identity is not hidden. It is expressed every day through your actions. Shape your habits and you shape yourself. Make your habits powerful and your life will follow. Your environment is one of the greatest forces shaping your habits, and most people never realize how deeply it influences the direction of their lives. You may believe your choices come strictly from willpower or personal strength, but the truth is your surroundings quietly guide your behavior every single day. The people you spend time with, the places you go, the energy you allow into your space all play a role in the habits you create and the habits you struggle to break. Your environment is working on you even when you are not paying attention, pushing you either toward your potential or away from it. Think about how effortlessly you drift toward distraction when your phone is always within reach. Think about how easy it becomes to skip a workout when your space is cluttered, your clothes are not prepared, or your schedule is unorganized. It is not that you lack discipline. It is that your environment is not designed to support the identity you want to build. When the environment is heavy, confusing, or full of triggers, your habits follow the path of least resistance. When the environment is intentional, clean, and structured, your habits rise to meet that order. Imagine walking into a kitchen where healthy food is already prepared versus one filled with junk food sitting on the counter. One environment invites discipline, the other tempts weakness. Or picture a workspace where everything is arranged with purpose versus one filled with clutter, noise, and distraction. In one space, focus becomes natural. In the other, focus becomes a battle. The environment sets the tone long before your mind does. There's a reason successful individuals guard their environment with commitment and intensity. They understand that the right surroundings make discipline easier, and the wrong surroundings make discipline almost impossible. They choose friends who inspire, not drain. They choose mentors who challenge, not discourage. They choose spaces that support their goals, not sabotage them. Over time, those choices influence the habits that shape their future. Take the example of a young man who struggled to study. He believed he lacked motivation, but when he simply changed the place where he studied, moved to a quiet library, away from noise, away from distractions, everything changed. His grades improved not because his mind grew stronger overnight, but because his environment stopped working against him. Or think about the person who could never stay consistent with workouts until they joined a community of people committed to the same goal. The environment provided energy, accountability, and inspiration. Suddenly, the habit wasn't a fight, it became a part of who they were becoming. Your environment can also be emotional. If you surround yourself with people who complain, who doubt themselves, who settle for less, you slowly begin to adopt their patterns. You start speaking like them, thinking like them, living like them. But if you place yourself around people who dream boldly, who work with consistency, who encourage growth, you rise to meet their level. You absorb their energy, their vision, their habits. Human beings mirror the environments they live in. That is why it is so important to choose yours with intention. Sometimes changing your habits begins with changing your environment. Remove the clutter if you want clarity. Create a peaceful space if you want calmness. Keep books within reach if you want knowledge. Place reminders of your goals where you can see them. Make your living space reflect the life you are trying to build, not the one you are trying to escape. Even small changes in your environment can unlock new patterns in your behavior. There comes a point when you must choose whether the environment you are living in supports your growth or keeps you comfortable in your limitations. The right environment challenges you, stretches you, reminds you of your purpose. The wrong environment slowly drains your motivation until you stop recognizing the person you wanted to become. Your environment is powerful. It shapes your habits, and your habits shape your future. Build an environment that honors your potential. Surround yourself with people who push you higher. Create spaces that speak to the best version of you. When your environment is aligned with your goals, your habits fall into place, and your life rises to a level you once believed was out of reach. There is a quiet wisdom in understanding that real change does not come from ripping things out of your life, but from replacing them with something stronger, something healthier, something that serves who you are becoming. People often believe that breaking a bad habit is all about force, restriction, and resistance. They think if they try hard enough, push long enough, or punish themselves deeply enough, the habit will disappear. But the mind doesn't work that way. Nature doesn't work that way. When you remove something, you create a space. And if you don't fill that space with intention, with purpose, with something better, your old habit finds its way back into the empty spot it once owned. There is far more power in replacing than in removing. It is like trying to stop a river by standing in front of it. Impossible. But redirect the river, give it a new path, a new flow, and you change its entire direction. In your life, your habits are that river. They always seek somewhere to flow. Instead of fighting the current, you guide it. You steer it. You shape it into something that builds you rather than breaks you. Think about someone trying to stop late night snacking. If they simply tell themselves no, every night becomes a battle of willpower, and eventually willpower wears down. But if they replace the snack with a cup of tea, a piece of fruit, or a moment of reflection, they don't fight the urge, they redirect it. Or consider a person trying to stop scrolling on their phone before bed. Removing the habit leaves an empty silence, but replacing it with reading a few pages of a book or writing down 3 thoughts from the day gives the mind something new to engage with. Over time, the new habit becomes the default, and the old one fades naturally. You see this truth in every part of life. When you replace complaining with gratitude, bitterness loses its grip. When you replace procrastination with small, doable steps, fear begins to shrink. When you replace negative self-talk with words of strength, your confidence grows quietly, steadily. The shift doesn't require a dramatic change. It only requires a meaningful one. One powerful example is someone who wanted to stop wasting their mornings. Instead of forcing themselves to wake up early with no plan, they created a new morning ritual, a simple routine that sparked purpose. They placed a journal on the nightstand, they put their workout clothes by the door, they chose uplifting music for their alarm. These replacements gave the morning meaning. Slowly, waking up early stopped feeling like punishment and began feeling like an invitation to something better. Replacing habits is also about understanding what your old habits were trying to give you. Many habits, even the unhealthy ones, grow from unmet needs: comfort, escape, connection, control, distraction. When you replace a habit, you honor the need but give it a healthier outlet. Instead of escaping through mindless entertainment, someone may learn to escape through creativity. Instead of calming anxiety through overeating, someone may calm it through movement, breathing, prayer, or journaling. The need stays, but the response becomes healthier, stronger, and more aligned with who they want to be. Replacing habits builds confidence in a way removing habits never can. When you remove something from your life, you feel deprived. But when you replace it, you feel transformed. You start to see yourself as someone capable of choosing better things, someone capable of rewriting their story, someone capable of stepping into a higher version of themselves. Every replacement becomes a reminder that you are not defined by your past patterns, but by your present choices. This approach also creates momentum. One good habit replaced leads to another. You clean your environment, and suddenly you think clearer. You eat better, and suddenly you move more. You speak kindly to yourself, and suddenly your entire mindset shifts. Replacements build on each other, creating a chain of upward steps that lift your entire life. There will be moments when you slip. That is part of the process. But even in those moments, remember the lesson. Don't just delete what harms you, add what heals you. Don't just erase what holds you back. Build what pulls you forward. Your habits are not chains, they are tools. And the most powerful tool you have is the ability to choose what you carry and what you create. Replace with purpose. Replace with intention. Replace with strength. Over time, you'll find that what once controlled you slowly becomes something you outgrow. And what once felt impossible becomes your new normal. This is the gentle, steady power of replacing. Not removing the power that shapes a life of discipline, direction, and deep transformation. Your habits are writing your future long before you ever arrive there. Long before the opportunity comes, long before the challenge appears, long before the world sees your potential, your habits are shaping the path you will walk on. They are preparing your strength, sharpening your mind, and molding your character beneath the surface. People often believe their future is determined by sudden breakthroughs or dramatic decisions. But the truth is that your future is built quietly in the daily routines you repeat without thinking. The smallest actions you carry out today are the architects of who you will become tomorrow. Think about the person who wakes up each morning and commits to learning something new. They might not see the impact in the first week or the first month. But over time, their mind sharpens, their perspective widens, and opportunities begin to find them because they've been preparing for them long before they appeared. Or consider the person who builds the habit of saving a small amount of money every week. It may seem insignificant at first, but years later that quiet discipline becomes financial stability, freedom, and peace of mind. These outcomes were not born from luck. They were born from habits that created the future long before the person even realized it. Your habits are like a compass. They direct you whether you intend for them to or not. If your habits are aligned with your goals, you move toward them naturally. If your habits contradict your dreams, you drift away from them without noticing. Many people have powerful dreams, but dreams alone cannot build a future. Dreams can inspire you, but habits are what carry you. If you want strength, you practice strength every day. If you want confidence, you build it through small victories. If you want success, you plant seeds through your daily actions, not your wishes. There's a story of a young woman who wanted to write a book. For years she waited for the perfect moment, the perfect inspiration, the perfect environment. But then she decided to write just one paragraph a day. One paragraph. It didn't feel like much, but she stayed consistent. Months passed, and that small habit grew into chapters. Eventually, chapters became a complete book. That future was shaped long before she finished the manuscript. It was shaped the moment she committed to the habit of writing daily. Her future waited for her to show up, and her habits made sure she did. The future does not suddenly arrive. It reveals itself. It reveals the work you've done, the consistency you've built, the habits you've repeated. If you want to know where your life is heading, don't look at your dreams. Look at your habits, because your habits don't lie. They show the truth about your direction. If you spend your days learning, serving, growing, improving, your future will reflect that. If you spend your days distracted, overwhelmed, or unfocused, your future will reveal that too. There is no escaping the impact of your routines. What makes habits so powerful is that they remove the need for constant motivation. Once something becomes a habit, it becomes part of your identity. You no longer ask yourself whether you should do it. You simply do it. Success becomes a pattern, not a struggle. Growth becomes a lifestyle, not a phase. Strength becomes natural, not forced. Someone who commits to daily discipline does not wonder whether they will succeed. Their habits are building that success for them. Someone who practices gratitude each morning doesn't wait for joy to find them. Their habits create that joy. Someone who chooses honesty, kindness, or integrity every day doesn't hope to become a good person someday. Their habits form that character long before others recognize it. Your habits are the quiet builders of your destiny. They pave the road brick by brick, step by step, day by day. And when you finally arrive at your future, you'll realize the truth. It wasn't fate or chance or coincidence. It was your habits leading you there all along. So choose wisely. Build routines that reflect the future you want. Protect the practices that shape your strength. Honor the small actions that prepare you for greater things. Because while you are busy living today, your habits are busy building tomorrow. So ask yourself what small actions are building your tomorrow. What routines are shaping your character, your mindset, your future. Because habits are powerful, invisible, yes, easy to overlook, yes, but they decide who you become. Build habits that honor your potential, habits that respect your dreams, habits that push you, challenge you, strengthen you. Because the quiet things you do will one day create the loudest results of your life.